Back, everybody. In this lesson, we're going to talk about arithmetic operators in Java. We have used a few of them so far in the programs that we've written. We're just going to talk a little more in detail about addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and a few other math operators. Java can be picky, and you need to be very careful in some of these situations. So the first one we'll look at is addition, and that, of course, is going to be the plus sign. Now, we need to be careful. The plus sign can be two things. It can be addition, or it can also be this string concatenation operator, as we saw in an earlier note. So I'm just going to whip up a simple print line statement, and I'm going to just do 4 plus 5 like this. And if I compile and run that program, we get 9. I'm just going to resize this window a little bit here. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, that's a bit better. Sorry to make you wait. Okay, so we get 9 when I print 4 plus 5. Now, if I put double quotes around here, then be careful. That's going to literally print what's inside the double quotes. So 4 space plus space 5. So it literally prints that string. This green text is called a string. So but by removing the quotes, it's actually going to do some math. So it's going to get the result and print that. I could also make these variables. So I could say int x is 4 and int y is 5 if I wanted to, and then I could add x plus y, and that's going to do the same thing. If I don't have any quotations, it's going to take the value of that variable, which is 4, and the value of this, which is 5, and it's going to add them together. And so that will also give 9. If I had more time, I could change this to scan.nextInt and scan.nextInt. And I could allow the user to enter in whatever numbers they want, and then I could print the sum of it. So that's that can be done as well, but I'm just going to leave it as 4 and 5. In fact, I'm going to get rid of these variables altogether. And I am going to show you what happens if you have a string. So what if I had a string and I add the number 4? So will that crash? No, no syntax errors. And if I run this, it concatenates the 4 to hello. So I think we actually discussed this before in a different lesson in the video on string concatenation. So what if I said hello plus 4 plus 5? What's that going to do? Is it going to add up the numbers first, or is it going to concatenate this first? Let's have a look. So if I run it, you see that we get hello 4 5. So it's joining the 4 to the end of this string, and then it's joining the 5 to the end of hello 4. So it's concatenating or sticking together all of these pieces. Now, if I put brackets around here, then that is going to change things. So that's going to do the addition first, and then it's going to concatenate. So that will give us hello 9. And then real quick, sorry, I think we did this in another video, but just to remind you, what if I stick that at the beginning, 4 plus 5 plus hello? So now we get a different result. It's going to say 9 hello. And the reason for that is that it moves from left to right. And so it sees 2 operands are integers. So it adds this because neither of these are strings. So that will be 9. And then we're concatenating to hello. So that's going to do string concatenation. It's going to join those 2 together. Okay, so just remember that if there's multiple plus signs in a statement, it will always go left to right. And if both operands are numbers, if both of these things are numbers on either side of the plus sign, then it's going to do addition. It's going to add those 2. But if one of the operands is a string, if I had this, so if one of the operands is a string on either side of the operator, then it's going to do string concatenation, and it's going to join these things together. Okay. All right, so I am going to show you one more thing with addition. If I say int x is 7, and if I print x, then there's, it's kind of obvious that it's going to print 7. All right, but we can change the values of variables. So I can say x is reassigned to 9. And then if I print x again, this time it's going to print 9. So at the very beginning, it's going to print 7, but then we're changing it to 9, and so it's going to print 9, just like this. Okay, so when we run computer programs, we always run one line at a time, top down. Now, what if I change this 9? What if I change this to x plus 1? So this is interesting. So there's x on either side of the assignment operator. So what this does is we always do the right-hand side first. So if you ever see a line of code like this with an equal sign, Java will always compute the right-hand side first. So it takes the current value of x, which is 7. That's the current value of x, adds 1 to it, which is 8, and then it reassigns x to 8. So after this line of code, x will be changed to 8. So 1 is added to my previous version of x. So if I run this now, we're going to see 7, 8, right? Because the first time we print x, it's 7. And then the second time we print x, it has been changed to 8. All right. This line of code is so common that there's a shortcut for it. And you can actually just say x plus plus. And when you see that, this is the same as x is assigned x plus 1. It's the same thing. So if I compile this and run it, you get the same result. All right, what if we did it one more time? What if I said x plus plus again? So if I do it twice, then that's going to change x to 8. This will change it to 9, and then I'm going to print 9. Just like this, okay? So there is one more thing you can do. What if you wanted to subtract 1? Well, you can say x minus minus. So if I say x minus minus, that's going to go the other way, and it's going to subtract 1 from 7. So that is going to be, it's going to change x to 6. All right. What if you wanted to add more than 1? So what if I wanted to say x is assigned x plus 3? So instead of adding 1, what if I wanted to add 3 for some reason? Well, you can either do this, so that works perfectly. That's going to take the old value of x, which is 7. It's going to add 3 to it, give you 10, and then that will be x. So that will be 10. Or you can use this shortcut. So you can say x plus equals 3. So that is a shortcut. It's the same thing as x is assigned x plus 3. That's the same thing. So if I were to run this program, it's going to print 7 first and then 10. All right. Okay, so just a little comment here. Plus plus and plus equals are called self-assignment operators. So you should know this term. These are basically the shortcuts for just adding 1 to a variable or adding more than 1 to a variable using plus equals. All right, so that is it. That's all I'm going to say about addition. In terms of subtraction, that of course is going to be the minus sign. And we basically have the same rules as addition. So if I say 7 minus 5, then that is going to print 2. Okay, so ignore the 7 and the 10. Just look at the last line there. That's going to be 2. Of course, you can have negative numbers. So 7 minus 10, that's going to print negative 3. If I put double quotes around this, then it's literally going to print 7 minus 10. It's going to print that on the screen. Now, what if you had a string? So what if I said hello minus 5? What's that going to do? That actually crashes, and it says bad operand types. So you cannot subtract a string and a number. Even if you had 2 strings. If you had 2 strings, this will not work either. Okay? So you can only add strings with numbers, and then it concatenates. But you cannot use the minus sign with strings. You can only use the minus string. You can only use the minus operator with numbers. Okay. Of course, you can use variables as well. So I could say 5 minus x. Now, wait, what is x? Well, if I go back up here, x was originally 7, but then I added 3 to it. So x is now 10. So this is going to be 5 minus 10. And so I should get negative 5 as my last line. Yeah, there it is there. Okay. There are also, as I mentioned, you can also say x minus minus. And so that is going to subtract 1 from x. So after this line of code, x will drop down to 9. And you can use this self-assignment operator minus equals. So if I want to go down by 5, you can do that. So that little command will reduce x by 5. So if I were to print x right now, x is 10 up here, and then that's going to drop it down to 5, so then it's going to print 5. All right, so there's addition and subtraction, pretty straightforward, as is multiplication. So multiplication we've seen before, that's going to be the asterisk character, and so I can print something like 5 times 4, and so that's going to print 20, no problem. What you can't do, like math class, you can't do this. You can't just use brackets with nothing in the middle. In math class, that's implied to be multiplication, but Java will have a problem with that. You have to put an asterisk. Oops, you have to put an asterisk in between if you want to multiply. And you don't really need these additional brackets here. All right, so that's simply going to be 20. You cannot multiply a string by a number. That's going to crash. All right, so that's no good. So again, just like subtraction, you need to have 2 numeric values here. Of course, they could be int variables as well. If you'd like to do that, that's fine. And then there is also a self-assignment operator for multiplication. So if I were to say x times equals 3, that will multiply x by 3. So whatever the current value of x, what did we say x was? After this line of code, I believe x is 5. So the most previous value of x was 5. So this will change x to 15 because it will multiply itself by 3. So this is a self-assignment operator that basically is the same as x is assigned x times 3. It's the same thing. You can use either line of code. All right. Okay, now on to division. And division is the one that we really have to be careful with. Okay, so the symbol for division is the forward slash. Okay, not the backslash, but the forward slash. So if I say system.out.println, let's just say I have 8 divided by 4. Okay, so we all know that that's 2. So if I compile this, and actually what I'm going to delete all of this just so it's not confusing. Okay, so we just have division. So if I were to print 8 divided by 4, we would expect that to say 2. And if I run that, we get the number 2, no problem. All right, but watch this. If I say 1 divided by 4, you should know in math class that that is equal to 0.25. That's a quarter. But watch what happens when I compile and run it. Nope, no errors. And when I run it, you don't get 0.25, you just get 0. Okay, what if I change that to 9 over 4? Well, in math class, that would be 2 1/4, so 2.25. 2.25 should be the answer, but I get 2. So when you divide 2 integers together, Java will cut off the decimal. Okay, so if I had 2 divided by 3, we know that that is 0.66666 repeating. But if I compile and run this, it is going to be 0. It just cuts off all the decimals. Okay, it does not round. It simply truncates or cuts off all of the decimals. All right, so what if we want to keep the decimals? What if we want to do authentic division and keep the decimals? All you have to do is make one of these operands a double, so like 2.0. So 2.0 divided by 3, if I compile and run it, watch what we get. There we go, we get 0.6 repeating. If I do 1.0 divided by 4, then that is going to give me 0.25. Okay. Of course, you can change the second one to a double as well. That would also keep the decimal, or you could have both of them being doubles, and that will also keep the decimal. So the thing you have to be careful with is if both of these are ints, if both of the operands are ints, then your answer is going to be an int, meaning it's going to cut off the decimal portion. So you need to be careful with that. So this will print 0. Okay. And if I just copy this line and paste it, and if I change this to 1.0 divided by 4, then this will print 0.25. All right. So we need to be very careful with division. Two more things to show you. What if you divide by 0? So can we divide by 0? So what if I had 1 divided by 0? Well, in math class, that's undefined. You can't divide by 0. So if I were to compile, no syntax errors, but watch what happens when I run this. Everything crashes, and it says division by 0 error. So we cannot divide by 0. But what's very interesting is if you make this 1.0, so if one of the operands is a double and you divide by 0, watch what happens. You get a different result. You get infinity, which is wrong. It shouldn't say infinity. I wish it had said undefined, because that is the true mathematical result. But it says infinity. Okay, so yes, you get an error if you divide by 0 and they're both ints. And if one of them is a double value and you divide by 0, you get the word infinity, which is kind of misleading, but that's what Java decided to do. Okay. All right, so there is, actually what I'll do, I'm going to stop the note here. And there are actually 3 more math operations that I'd like to discuss, but I'm going to save those for another video. We'll practice with these, with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. We'll do a bit of practice, and then we'll do a second note on arithmetic operators in a little bit. Okay, bye for now.